Hi there, welcome. Thank you for being here today. We're going to get you some clarity, see what's going on overall in the energy and what messages would be the most helpful. We're going to start today's reading with the tea leaf because the messages can really be anything with this deck of cards. So let's get you some opening messages, and remember, it's a timeless collective reading. See what feels like it resonates and trust that direct connection that you have to your higher self, to God, to source, to the universe, because the answer is always in you. And try to make balanced decisions between logic and intuition, so your decisions are sound, based in love, and for the highest, greatest good of everyone. So we're all uplifted in love. Let's just pull a few to begin the reading. Let's see what God, source, Holy Spirit, Christ consciousness, our higher selves, angels, and energies of love have for the highest, greatest good of all. What are the most prominent messages that would be helpful to hear at the beginning of this reading for the collective? Please and thank you. So you're on the right road and you're heading for success. With this mountain energy, I always see the mountain as an obstacle to overcome, but with this particular obstacle, you actually have maybe a windy, twisty road, but you do have a path that is opening up for you. It's telling you you are on the road to success. That's really nice. I feel like for some of you, maybe that road got a little rough, but I feel like you kept going. You didn't slide back down the mountain. I'm even getting that once you see a pinnacle point of a situation, you get to see the other side of a situation that you couldn't see unless you trekked up that mountain. But I also feel like I love when I get like interesting visuals. I feel like, yes, the road up might be really hard, but I feel like when you get up there, there's like a secret zip line for you. So it's going to be a fun way down. Or like, I don't know, like like one of those weird planes, like the glider planes that's going to maybe just glide. Maybe it's like smoother air currents. I don't know why I see now like a change in the winds. I also feel like the current you are catching, I actually feel like it's going to go in a different way than you expect. I just thought of like a weather station. You know, those little like weather stations that people can have. Maybe some of you have a weather station, or it's about checking the weather. It could also be energetic weather that's going to be a change in. Let's see. We'll definitely dive in and clarify these two. So tell us another important energy to know about. I did see you gliding. Well, hey, I mean, if your perspective is that of an eagle, this is really successful energy, because when you see an eagle as a symbol, as an omen, it's destiny. It's you having a higher purpose. The eagle can soar higher than any other bird. They can also go above all of those currents of energy. So if there is maybe a current of energy that was maybe pushing you off course, you're just going to fly above that shit. You're going to be good. Maybe some of you get to see an eagle. It's triumph over anything that was a trouble or an obstacle, which is the first thing that came out with that mountain. So maybe some of you are finding a solution, a resolution. Maybe some of you are even figuring out a way to get rid of the obstacle altogether. If this is something that's like a hurdle, you know, that keeps coming up, either you're figuring out how to bounce over that hurdle, or you're not. I feel like you're actually just knocking it down. I just saw the hurdles knocked down like dominoes, and you're like, oh, that's much easier now. I'm just gonna walk over it. Let's get you one more from this, and then we will dive a little deeper for you guys. What is one more message that would be the most beneficial to hear? You got a bridge. All right, 3 messages out of, I think there's 200 cards in here that are all telling you, if you were worried, if you thought that something wouldn't turn out in the best light possible for the highest and greatest good of all. I am even getting a test. I know that's really different, like being tested. So I feel like you passed the test. So that could be like a karmic test, really, you know, letting an old cycle go, even tested patient, like with your patience. That could even be a person that I'm seeing, because now you have the bridge here. So it could be like burning bridges. Maybe it's if you leave a situation, you leave on a high note. No need to burn bridges if you don't have to. I feel like you're doing something with the spiritual light, with graciousness, and I heard gratitude. If there was anybody testing you for any reason, I kind of get that. For one group, I kind of feel like somebody was very unconscious that they were even doing that. For another group, I feel like somebody was quite aware, quite conscious that they were putting the old test to you. And you know what? You passed it with flying colors, or you're going to. I feel like you threw a monkey wrench in a situation. You threw like somebody for a loop. I also feel like for some of you did not react how somebody expected. Maybe somebody just always expected people to react to their test or whatever it is in a certain manner, and you didn't do that. I feel like you actually blew somebody's mind, maybe in a really good way. That could be a reality check / epiphany kind of thing, but I feel like for most of you, you impressed somebody. Also, this bridge, if you were stuck on one side or the other side, or you were under the bridge, water under the bridge, you're being presented this gigantic ladder to get up to the bridge. So maybe you are the bridge between two people, or you're in a hallway right now and you're in between situations. Maybe you had to trek along that mountain road for quite a while to get to the bridge, to get across to a certain thing. Because I feel like for some of you, you could see what was on the other side. You just didn't know how to get there. So either you're getting a ladder, you're getting a magical bridge, or you're gonna fly on a eagle or in a glider plane or on a zip line to get across it. You're gonna be good. It says successfully overcoming a problem. Triumph over troubles and obstacles, and you're on the road to success. So that's really nice. Success. I just heard the test thing again. I don't know what that is. We'll figure it out. Maybe some of you actually had a test, quite literal, you know, an exam, something like that, something that you were hoping to pass. I actually feel like some of you, I heard pass and I heard grasp. Maybe there was something that you weren't quite grasping that could have been a teacher you didn't connect to. It could have been certain, you know, information that just wasn't really your thing, or you couldn't quite, I don't know. I'm getting, I heard compute, like compute, can't compute. Maybe it was overwhelming. Maybe there was a lot going on, but I'm getting retain. Maybe there was something that like, you couldn't retain your attention with. It wasn't really interesting to you. For some of you, I'm kind of getting that you might, total extra message. I love when these just download into me. For some of you, I mean, this could have been you. But I feel like some of you maybe have a younger energy. It could even be like a brother or a sister. And that could be somebody in college. It could be somebody, getting a second education, or could be somebody in elementary school. I feel like if some of you have somebody you're connected to and they are not paying attention in class, it is because they're brilliant. It's because it actually is boring to them. And I'm also seeing that maybe there's a certain subject that is kind of just boring, but I see that maybe that's you. Like there is a subject that you're ridinky-dink at, or somebody is, like it's math, or they like dinosaurs, or whatever it is. It's like you ask them about that subject. I mean, they're like a living encyclopedia, and you can tell the difference. Ooh, that's giving me the goosies, guys. This is important for somebody. You can tell the difference because when, let's just say it is a child, they speak about it. They just get really excited, even if it seems like the silliest subject in the world. Maybe if somebody really likes dinosaurs, they're going to be the best dinosaur scientists ever when they grow up. But I feel like for some of you, you have to find what that is. If you're not having a connection, especially I'm getting a younger energy here. If you're not having a real connection, you're like, why didn't you pass the test? I know you're smart. You know, why aren't you doing your homework? Why aren't you? Something like that. I feel like maybe it's not even about the overall situation, but it's about your connection with them. And maybe the way to find that connection with someone is to really see what they're interested in. You know, if they're interested in like a video game or something like that, maybe you don't like to play video games, but maybe you can ask them engaging questions about that world that they go in, or why do they like that sword, or whatever it is. It's sort of an example that I'm getting. But that engagement, that connection where somebody feels heard on something they care about, I feel like it's going to get you farther in helping maybe overall situations that might be a little... I just heard nerve-wracking, you know, if you can't quite understand. But I see a brilliant mind, but I feel like there's maybe lack of focus somewhere. So maybe it's also, for some of you, if this is you and it's an actual test and you're not really making a connection, you know, you're not computing information, then I do feel like there's either a different teacher, maybe a tutor, or maybe even something you can look up online where you can just get that same information through a different source that you connect to. I also feel like some of you need to adjust how you study. Small adjustment can go a long way. Maybe you have to hear something to retain it. Maybe you have to visually see something. Maybe you have to do something. But I feel like there is going to be that connection. And I feel like if you do have a test or something like that, you're definitely going to pass. I also see a redo, an extra credit. So even if you don't, for some of you, there's another way you can get just as high of a score by maybe doing some extra credit or volunteering, or maybe just taking it over but changing your study method. I hope that made sense. Don't get discouraged if you need to do something again. There just has to be some kind of adjustment before that redo. I hope that made sense for some of you and that was helpful. Have a positive mindset, because it looks like here something's going to turn out pretty wonderful. And look at that ladder going up to the bridge. The bridge to success. Yeah, let's continue. Let's see what this is and what's going on here. I kind of feel like I want to get you... Do I have it here? No. I want to get you like a little more of a message. I have it here? I do. Let's do this. This is the clarifying life situations. Pretty general. So let's get you a general clarifying message to be helpful on Mountain Road. I thought it's hard. Take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. I have those words all wrong, but I just heard the Country Road song. And maybe it's about the country, or maybe it's taking your time. Shifting gears. What is a message that would be helpful? I love this card. I don't know why it makes me so happy, because I just want to be wherever that beach is with candy colored, you know, beach stones. Look at how beautiful it is. I mean, I know this is probably like AI, but I want to go to that beach. It reminds me of the beach in Contact, which is, in my opinion, one of my top favorite movies. That movie is just amazing. So if you've never seen that movie, I do suggest it. It's with Jodie Foster. Build a strong professional network, attend industry events, join professional groups, and connect with peers online. Cultivate genuine relationships. This is not just superficial relationship like, hey, here's my business card, call me, you know, whatever. This is you actually like going out to tea with somebody, you know, meeting them for pizza. I'm getting that you need to ask somebody deeper questions about their thing. It's kind of the same message that I'm getting, but this is now taking us a little more into maybe business. I am also seeing that some of you are going to make the connection, hi Rose, that is the bridge across. So this bridge might not be you, that might be a certain individual or a group that gets you in the door. That is the key to your success in this situation. So for some of you, somebody might have the right job for you, or the right connection that has the right connection that has the right connection. Sometimes you have to follow those clues and it's not the direct route. But this is you having a whole network. This is people that got your back. I do feel like some of you, I want to say, just need a little more organization, maybe in your phone, or maybe one of those little notebooks or something like that, to, because I feel like some of you have the contact you already need, but it's kind of lost because you never actually called that number. So I see for some of you, maybe from here on out, you do that. Maybe some of you already do this, you know, like this person, friends of Suzanne that you met in that bar on the corner, and this person does this, you know, like kind of put some little notes in there. So if you go back, because I do feel like some of you are going to make a connection, maybe just a little conversation, you know, you went to a gathering, an event, something like that. And for some of you, that connection is not useful as of yet, but they will be. But in order for you to remember, you know, the details of that conversation, you have to kind of take note, because I feel like for some of you, it's going to be later on that you need to look back and that person is going to be useful. I actually hear like VIP, or like take a really very important part of your situation, your direction, or maybe even your success. Maybe that for some of you, this is a future business partner that you're going to meet. Maybe it's not, you know, right now that you're diving into, you know, a new business with someone, but maybe down the line, maybe somebody's going to get some more education, or somebody's going to, you know, do some traveling in their own life, their own journey. And in their travels, they're going to make some connections, and eventually the crossroads are going to come back to you and them. That's not everybody. For some of you, it could also be meeting I mean, it says relationships. So this could be a future connection to your future honey. Maybe some of you are meeting somebody through somebody else. I kind of feel like it's not a big setup, though. I feel like if that happens for some of you, it's going to be kind of casual. You know, you're just like chillaxing with your, you know, with your bare feet, walking on these cool rocks, looking at the little fishies in there, and oh, hey, how are you guys today? Do you want to come join us for lunch? By the way, this is my friend Bob. By the way, this is my friend Suzanne. Kind of like that. Like you're going to kind of just be somewhere and see somebody and be invited in to a group. But you're not going to feel like an outsider. You're going to feel like you fit in. I hope that's helpful. I just got so many messages for you guys on these. So, network. I also feel like some of you are going to be that person helping somebody out. Maybe you know that somebody's had a rough road. And I kind of feel like that's somebody that maybe has, by circumstances in their life, burned some bridges, but they did not do that with you. Because I feel like there was a respect somewhere. You know, maybe for some of you, somebody was just in an environment or a partnership or whatever where it was kind of rough. You know, like they needed to burn that bridge down. But I feel like you have a connection with someone where you saw their potential, you saw their tenacity, you know, you saw their work effort, and I'm getting a personality thing too. If for some of you, you're training somebody, or somebody is training you, there's something about you can train somebody to, you know, be in the timing of a situation or have the skills, but there's something that you can't train somebody to have a personality. So there's something about somebody's personality actually being important. And that can be any personality. You know, people have many different personalities, but there's something about somebody's specific personality that really does work and groove for whatever it is this connection is. let's just continue on, because I feel like this is one of those readings that whatever you are connecting to in you that this is about is what it's about. And I feel like everybody's particular situation is kind of different here. So let's go mystery, because I keep staring at it. Let's get you a mystery or two. These could just be like extra, read all about it, or it could be, you know, a little deeper on the messages that have come through. Ooh, I did see the work ethic. So if this is somebody that you know is not living up to your potential, or maybe somebody that has all the bells and whistles on their resume, but they don't really ever show up. You know, somebody that expects everything, but doesn't want to do like the elbow grease involved. Maybe this is that bridge that needs to be burned. If some of, because I'm not getting that your energy is lazy. But maybe there was somebody that got kind of complacent or doesn't like to pitch in. I am getting like a little bit of entitlement with this energy. So if there's somebody that just feels entitled, I don't know why I'm thinking of like, I don't know. It makes me think of like, I've seen younger, the old kid, the kids, you know, the ones that are just getting out there in the workforce. And I've seen such a variation of different personalities. I've seen kids that get out there, and I mean, they're working, they want to be there and they want to do it. And I've seen the ones that just, they don't want to be there. They want to get everything for nothing. And then they're the ones complaining the most on why they don't get enough. Or it's like, sometimes you got to earn it. There's something about earning your keep, or earning this success. There's something also about when you really put your authentic, real elbow grease, energy, effort, digging into the dirt, getting up that hill, getting up the mountain. There's something about that success being so much sweeter than just being handed on a silver platter or fed with a silver spoon. I think that's the thing. I'm also getting that if some of you are maybe, you know, you got a rough road. That's a cliff. That does not look like an easy mountain. I totally just thought of Kill Bill when Uma Thurman had to go up that crazy mountain to really learn how to do the swords. You know, with the guy with the weird, like, with the weird long, like, mustache. Like, it was hard. She had to, like, carry water or something up. I have not seen that movie in so long. But she wouldn't have learned those skills if her, you know, somebody didn't, like, really put her in the ringer for that. So there's something about, if you felt like you've been through the ringer, you worked really hard, be easy on yourself if you need to have a lazy day. Because you can't burn the candle at both ends. It's okay to give yourself permission to be a little lazy and just lay on the hammock one day. You know, go to the pool. If you feel like you're always trying to, you know, strive for this successful energy, and you're always networking, and you're always on the phone, and you're always looking for more, then chillax. It's okay. It's okay. You are not going to get behind by giving yourself some time and some space. You'll probably get farther ahead, because if you are burning the candle at both ends or running on an empty gas tank, then you're only going to get so far. Whereas if you fill yourself up completely, if you get to that place where your energy is feeling like it's fulfilled, you're gonna be able to, you know, go long distance than just kind of like half the whole time. I hope that made sense. Like I actually saw a horse, like the difference between like a quarter horse and, I don't know, like a thoroughbred, you know, the ones that go really, really far. You know, the quarter horse can go really fast, but not as far as another horse. So there's something about maybe switching gears, you know, filling up so you can do like the long distance run and not just, I just heard shot put. Is that thing, that big heavy thing? We were like, I just saw that. I feel like you're changing your game somehow, but it's going to involve a different kind of training. All right, let's continue. think that thing is called a shot. And then I just saw the like the javelin. Maybe you do something like that. Maybe some of you are even in like, I don't know, obstacle course, you know, what is that, like where you like climb all the crazy stuff? Maybe even like a boot camp kind of situation. For some of you, if you are maybe feeling like, you know, you've got a little lazy lately, you used to be pretty good about going to the gym, and maybe it's not going to the gym for some of you. Maybe it's having a really good, I did see a trainer or a coach or something like that. So maybe for some of you, it's not about, you know, something that you're writing or at school. Maybe it's doing a boot camp or something like that, where like your butt's kind of kicked a little bit, but you're going to have a lot of results and you'll probably really enjoy it, even though at first it's a little hard, but your body will adapt to it pretty quick and yet not adapt to it. So you'll continue to get results. I am not a personal trainer, but I was around one for many, 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 many years of my life. So I am kind of getting that for some of you. I'm also seeing for some of you that maybe you're the one doing the boot camp. Like you're the one, you know, calling the shots, getting somebody in shape. Yeah, because I'm getting a lot of adrenaline energy all of a sudden, but that good adrenaline, you know, where like maybe you're sore first day or two, you know, you did too many squats, you can't quite even sit on the toilet properly. But then, you know, all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, then you kind of like, you get that desire, that urge. I feel like some of you need to get it past the first like initial weird hump. Maybe some of you are getting in shape by doing some adult activities. Let's move on. Woo! What's another message for you guys? Oh, well, I like this. I like this. I mean, it's none of your business what anyone else thinks. You know, whether it's somebody chiming in on your style or why they think you should do this or what direction you should go, or, you know, even their process of your success. That's weird. Like somebody knows how you should succeed and maybe it doesn't groove with you. Maybe it works for them, but not for you. If some of you are too worried about, you have this here. If some of you are anything that has like social media or, you know, clients, customers, fans, supporters, whatever it is, you're not going to ever make everyone happy. You know, there's going to be people that groove with you and there's people that might not. So don't be in any kind of anxiety or worry about anybody that may or may not like you. Either way, they do, they don't. But how do you feel about yourself? You know, people can think whatever they want. I heard come around. There could be somebody that, you know, maybe it's even that. I'm getting, I'm getting a little bit of the Knight of Pentacles kind of energy. Because I saw all those races, you know, before. Now we're not on the horse now. We're going to get off the saddle. And I'm getting that sometimes the Knight of Pentacles is misunderstood as an energy because you don't always see them moving. They're going to take their jolly old time. You don't see all the effort that they're doing, you know, planting the field or putting effort into something to be a success because it's that long road. They're usually the one that wins in the end because they don't fizzle out before they get there. But sometimes that energy does a lot behind the scenes that others don't notice. Others notice the big trophy, you know, or the big win, but they didn't see all the training that was involved. They didn't see how somebody took their work home and did a little extra on their own time to acquire that success. So a lot of times I always see like that night that they like go out and they're like, oh, I forgot to like plant half of my field. And they're like, oh, well, I'm up now. So let's just go do half of it tonight. I'll put my headlamp on. And, you know, you wake up and the field of sunflowers is there. And you're like, when did you do that? You know, I thought you were freaking sleeping in the other room. So there's always that energy where sometimes people can judge because they don't see all the movement that might be happening behind closed doors. So maybe somebody's judging you for being lazy, but they're not seeing you every minute of every day and what you do when they're not with you, or, you know, especially if it's somebody that you don't even really know. So I'm kind of getting that, you know, if that's your energy, do you. Also, that energy of the Knight is knowing when to take a break. You know, if you do have a horse, make sure you let your horse have some hay. Take a little break in the stall, give it some water, because if you take that horse out there and expect it to keep plowing all day and never get a little carrot break, it's going to be an unhappy horse, and it's probably going to be really tired. So it's knowing when to take a break and when to, you know, book it. When to hit something full throttle, when the energy is there, and just get it done. Hopefully that made sense. I got a lot out of these cards. So, well, since I saw the tarot, let's pull some tarot. I'm actually going to do something a little different, though. I kept seeing this one. It's traditional, kind of, because you have all this successful energy, and this is the after tarot. So it's like the slight little bit after the traditional scene that you see. So let's get a peek of the after part, or what you can look forward to, or what you can anticipate as a possible obstacle so you can get over it differently. So let's see. I actually just heard my stomach growl. I think I need to eat something. I need a little snack. Let's see. What would be the biggest energy? Wow! Ah, you got the sun. I'm so happy. Oh, you have the Two of Cups here. So that, I mean, all right, I love these two. These are like two of the happiest cards. I just looked at my hair in the camera. I'm totally pulling like Jennifer Grey via Dirty Dancing here. I was out in the water all day. I just did not do anything with my hair, and I'm just gonna go with it. Maybe like Dirty Dancing. That just always makes me think of that song Solomon Burke sings because it's so sexy. Cry to Me. If your baby feeling all alone and nobody calls you on the phone, don't you feel like crying? You have the Two of Cups and you have the Sun. You have success. This is success. And this is success with ultimate happiness, joy, vitality, enthusiasm, that childlike energy here, where maybe it's not about playing tug of war, you know? This is where you're actually on the same team as someone. It could also be like a twin energy. This is when you follow your joy. That's the key to success. If you figured out what you can do in your life when you grow up and it brings you joy, it doesn't matter what it is. You are already ahead of most of society that don't like where they are or what they do. But, you know, they follow the rules that it makes the most money, or it's what mommy and daddy wanted, or it's what they thought they wanted when they were 20, but then they have all of these amazing experiences that happen in life. And it's like, no, you can't change now. You can always change. You can always start over. You can always figure out a way for some of you to do two things at once. I also feel like some of you are going to be able to take something that you do and maybe something that you're talented at or have had experiences with, or you're gaining curiosity and learning more about, and you're going to morph it all together somehow. I'm getting like fusion energy. And that's why you're going to be successful, because you did it a different way with your own flair. No one else thought of it, or no one else had your approach or your style or your enthusiasm. That's it. When you talk about something that brings you joy, others feel that. That's why when you have connections, people want to give you the job. People want to give you the connection because they feel that authentic energy in you when you just express what you're joyful about. And if you don't know what brings you joy, start with the baby the baby joy. What are you kind of curious about? Start there. Go down that little rabbit hole and see where it brings you. And sometimes God, the universe, your higher self signed up for something and you had to follow that trail. You had to follow a little, that little treasure hunt to get down the road a little bit to get to a door you never even thought of. You know, sometimes you have to be in that hallway a while, or something has to be divinely orchestrated, you know, behind a closed door for you. The sun doesn't matter if it's, you know, upside down or not. If it's upside down, it's just a cloudy day. You know what? The sun's still there. It's still going through the clouds. It's still creating growth in the world. It's still that energy, yang, vitality, energy that is making everything blossom in your life. So start to have that energy in you. Look for, like those sunflowers, what feels like an open door, what feels like an opportunity, what feels like a gift. And, you know, with full open arms, say yes. Even if it's just, you know, a little more timid, like, all right, I'll give it a try. Because when sunflowers grow, they follow the sun the whole way across the sky. There's also something special when you see sunflowers, because it's not just a pretty little flower. I mean, it is a pretty flower, but they have the seeds. You know, it's also food. Totally just thought of a baseball game. Don't baseball players like spit the sunflower seeds? Maybe that makes sense to you. And there's also a wall here, but those sunflowers opportunities are taller than that block or that wall. I also feel like there could be something behind a closed door that you don't see, but it's being worked out in your favor. It's also clarity. If some of you weren't clear on something, a direction, a person, where to find the bridge, how to get the map, why you had to go over that huge ass mountain, then you're getting clarity. This is clear conversation. It's where the truth is revealed, but it's where no matter what that truth is, the reality of knowing feels way better than not knowing. So even if it's maybe something you thought you might not want to know, you're going to feel better to just know it, because it's going to navigate your next step so much easier than feeling like you're always shut in the dark or always filling in the gaps. It's nice, but it's wanting to see something clearly. Maybe it's somebody that sees you clearly. I like this because this is an embrace. There's also something healing about a cat's purr. I know that's, I mean, maybe you make somebody purr. I mean, yeah, I mean, I am getting a little purring energy here. But usually in the Two of Cups, these people are like, you know, crossing their cups. Like, here, you can have some of mine and you can have some of mine, but they each know how to fill up their own cup. It's not somebody just depleting the other person's cup and the other one's just constantly emptying. Eventually you have nothing else to give. Here, these two people are embraced. They even look like if somebody had a rough day. Look at how sweet it is. He's like petting her head. He's like, it's okay, got you. This is a beautiful, usually loving partnership. It's usually not platonic. It's usually romantic. I feel like this is somebody that you really just love to be around. They love to be around you. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, maybe there was distance, because usually those the Two of Cups are kind of separate. Maybe something's about to come together. Maybe for some of you, this is clarity on somebody that you just really connect with. Maybe it's even an unusual connection, because I feel like the Two of Cups is a choice that just it's like a choice, but it's just is. It's a two, so it is a choice. But it's where two people usually just choose the same thing together. They choose to work something out. They choose to be in each other's company. There's definitely loyalty here with that lion. Also, it's like it's almost like a griffin. It's like a lion eagle. You got a flying lion here overlooking this partnership coming in, or you've already been blessed with. You have the caduceus here, which is a healing energy. It's also giving me a little bit of kundalini rising kind of energy. You know, when you're really in a connection where it's spiritual, it's where there's effort being put in by both individuals. It's where you build together, you grow together, you heal together. But when it's deep, when it's that soul connection and there's some romance there, I mean, that frequency coming together literally is like a universe explosion. So it could be where you meet somebody and your chakras just all opened up because your energy or your frequency was so close to somebody else's, even if it was opposite. So, you know, think about that. It could be yin yang, you know, it's opposite. It could be infrared, ultraviolet. But there's something about that bandwidth somehow coming together and meeting in a perfect point. I don't know, I just see like something being opposite, and yet its wavelength is exactly what the other needed. And I just keep seeing an explosion like of energy. And I do feel like some of it is sexual, but I also feel like it's more than that. It's spiritual. It's maybe even mental stimulation. It's heart chakra. You know, it's the heart, it's speaking, I'm getting everything. Just feels right. If this is for some of you something that doesn't feel right, you put in all the effort, somebody else is a lazy ass. You know, it's where something is always kind of missing, or somebody's always bringing that rain cloud into a situation to, I don't know, put a damper on your dream. That was sort of an interesting thing to see. If someone's always draining you, if there's a vampire energy, you know, where somebody's always wanting to suck your beautiful light because they don't know how to turn their own on, you need to turn your own light on even more and maybe turn it off on somebody else. That's really like a strong, hard lesson. But I kind of feel like with the Two of Cups, there's still this love here. You know, sometimes tough love is the way to go. You know, especially if there's somebody that maybe wasn't being all truthful and somebody was thinking that their light was shining in a certain manner, and yet the other person internally is not feeling the same way, or not feeling like something is, it's like being on two different pages. I actually feel like it's actually the same page, but two totally different novels. It's like, oh no, I'm on page 42. Aren't you on page 42? They're like, yeah, I'm on 42, but you're reading two different books. You know, the ending is going to be different for each of you. So if there is a situation that was unrequited love, or it's just ready to end, or it's just not what it was when you were both actually in the same page, on the same, you know, chapter in the same book, then it's getting back on the same page that, you know what, we're on different books here. So how can we really tap into this situation and adjust as necessary? So maybe there's no bridges burned, love is maintained, you take that spiritual road on a situation, and I do feel like there's a way to mend. If some of you feel like you are in anything that is unhealthy, or anything that is just not there for your highest, greatest good, and you're constantly stressed, you're constantly strained, you know, it's like you're tying down that eagle. It's like the eagle wants to fly high. If there's anything like tethering the eagle to the ground and not letting them fly, it's like putting, you know, see their feet being bound, then it's up to you to cut that string if you're the eagle. If for some of you, you have somebody that wants to fly like that eagle and, you know, reach a dream, and your dream is now something different, grounded. You know, you don't want to go jumping off the mountain, it's not your thing. But somebody, you know, somebody really wants to obtain a dream. It's let them fly. Fly away, you know, let them go. If something is meant to be with you, it'll come back. And if something is not meant for you, you now have all of the room for the right thing to come in. So, I hope this reading was helpful for you so far. Let's get you one final message from the universe. I'm going to prepare myself because I know I will not be able to read these words at all. What would be helpful to know about... It's interesting. I do feel like these two younger energies are also I'm getting masculine and feminine, but yet kind of look the same. I have to kind of hold this because, you know, I can't quite show everything, even though they don't really show anything on this card. Just, it's interesting because there's one energy here holding that flag up pretty strong. And then the other person here is trying to like yank that flag down. Maybe it is for some of you. You're getting a clear answer or some truth revealed on maybe some, I mean, it's quite literally a red flag. There's somebody trying to pull you down. You're there being strong, holding your, you know, I just heard the pole of progress. Your pole of progress has been up. Then maybe just let them have that red flag and go get yourself another pole. Because it's like, here you go, you can have it. Like, stop straining my situation, man. All right, let's see. Let's get one final message for the collective. What is the final message that would be the most helpful? Please and thank you. Final message from Spirit. What would you like the collective to know today? That would be the most helpful on none of your business, what they think. I just, I don't know why I just thought of Billy Joel. Friday night, I crashed your party. Saturday, I said I'm sorry. Sunday came and trashed me out again. I just like that the one verse so much. You were lonely for a man. Said you remember there alone in your electric chair. I get all tongue-tied. I told you dirty jokes until you smiled. You were lonely for a man. I said take me as I am. And you might enjoy the madness for a while. So let's see what it is. Perhaps you are reminded all too often just how quickly the phases in your life can shift. True. I mean, sometimes it feels like time doesn't move as, but you know what? We're here in a blink of an eye. So if there's anything you want to do, do it. What are you waiting for? If it's something you've been thinking about, if there's something that would bring you this joy and this happiness, this love or this chance to open up your heart or to connect to someone, you know, to fly and tap into what you feel is successful in your legacy in your life, because that's a different definition for everyone. If there's a place in the world you want to go figure it out. If you don't know how to, you know, approach that situation, get your feelers out there in the universe. Maybe somebody comes along and they have the perfect solution that you never would have thought of if you didn't have that conversation about how you want to do that thing or go to that place in the world or start that business or, you know, I just heard date that person. You know, maybe you just need to open your mouth and ask. All right, I'll put my glasses back on. Perhaps you're reminded all too often just how quickly the phases in your life can shift. One change after another. You are learning to adapt and grow. That's what we are here to do. Be kind and gentle with yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't worry about what others say. Did you do better than you did the last time? You know, if a situation happened to you now, would you handle it different than you would have 10 years ago? Or are you repeating something the same way? Because if there's anything on repeat, you're the only one that can make those changes. Be gentle with yourself. And if you are really trying to get something done, you are not being lazy at all. You know, you're really, really like desiring something wonderful to come in your life. Be easy on yourself, man. It's not easy down here. You know, you're a beautiful soul that chose a very hard planet to live on, and you're doing a good job. If you are, I just heard, I heard tired, but I feel like some of you are maybe confused. I feel like you just need the map, or you just need a little answer, you just need a little clarity. If you don't know what to do, pray. Yell out to the universe, whatever you believe in. And say, hey, like I really need an answer. I really need to give me that next clue. And then be open to how it comes in. Because when you're open to that information in, it doesn't always come how your old noggin or your consciousness or your ego thought it would. But your soul will recognize it. Don't second guess what your soul and your heart knows. With this, I bid you adieu. I love you so much. I hope this reading was helpful. I look forward to seeing you soon. Mwah. Bye.